What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, great people? What's going on? It's your boy AB.
And it's your girl D. Gang. What up, y'all?
So tonight we are just really kind of freestyling. Grateful to be here in front of you guys once again, and hopefully we will have some people that will join us and have some commentary to assist us with getting through this evening. Um, so recently we have had the pleasure of expanding the household, and it's been quite the experience. Interesting, pleasant.
Yes.
We will say pleasant.
Right.
Um, but
Interesting nonetheless.
interesting, quite new to us. We have little ones in the house,
Yes.
and it is something that we haven't had in quite some time.
We have our nephews are here, 4 years old and 6 years old, and they are every bit
Touchy feely like Usher.
Oh my gosh, they are every
so
bit
touchy feely.
every bit of 4 and 6. Okay.
But they are incredible. One of them thinks that he speaks Spanish.
What's his name?
His name is Minbeta.
Because
Because everything women does is good, but Minbeta. So that's what I call him, and that's what he calls me. And then there is Funef, who is nephew backwards, because he's backwards as hell.
Okay.
But love them to life. Itsy bitsy pieces. They are I think kind of something that we kind of needed to experience and explore our endeavors in the near future, as far as having more children. And it's been quite the journey. I do kind of look to hear, hey Uncle A, coming through the door and different things, and then sometimes I want to kick their ass because they're touching shit, or it's like I gotta put some shit away that normally I wouldn't necessarily have to put away because
you don't have to normally put it away,
right? Because it's little kids. It's like, fuck, I can't set this right here. I gotta put this away because this one may grab it and point it at that one, or this one might do something weird with that, or whatever. So shout out to my boy Minbeta and Funef. So much love to you guys. Okay. So much love to you guys, and so much love to Nisi Poo, whatever it is you're dealing with. Hope you get it together, and we got your back 1000%.
Sure, you're right. So it is absolutely a pleasure to be back for Twice the Advice. Oh my gosh, our schedule has been
crazy, man. Crazy.
Absolutely bonkers. Yeah. It has been a struggle to try to get back to you guys. Man, listen, glad that we're back. But I kind of thought about it a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about being consistent through inconsistencies. Okay, so this has nothing to do with us as a couple, so to speak, but our life right now is so inconsistent.
We have to find ways to make sure that we remain conducive, because it's so much that's going on, and behind the scenes we got started with something, and then as soon as we got that going, then there was something else, and then there was a hiccup here, and then there was a little bit of chaos there, and
man,
all in all, just like the importance of identifying distractions. I'm gonna say that because I have a dear brother of mine who, since he has decided to be himself
in every way, shape, form, of
fashion, unadulterated, the true, real, raw who he is, he has had so many adversities, and I love him to life.
Yes.
I encourage him through everything that he's dealing with, and he does exactly the same for me and this young lady right here.
Absolutely.
But in spite of that, he has been consistent.
Absolutely.
And so that is what I look up to in him, because unbeknownst to me, I was an example of so for him.
Yeah. And now that he faces his own adversity,
and I'm seeing it
firsthand,
it's just like, bro, you still rocking. You know what I mean? So that is what I hold so very dear, and I see in people, and I'm like, Well, listen, you don't know a person's struggles and their story until
you know their
you actually
struggles
sit
and their
down
story.
And listen to their story and learn their struggles.
One of the things that I thought really, so much about it is because, just to be transparent with you guys, my husband and I were just having a conversation, and I was like, man, I really felt like we were just getting our wind beneath our wings with the show. We were getting the channel kind of popping. All of the social media was finally starting to make a little bit of sense. And then it was like everything just kind of started popping off at one time. And it was so difficult to be able to sit down in these chairs and give you guys our undivided attention at this time. So just a little bit of a sneak peek, I guess you could say. We're going to be making a couple of changes to our live stream. We may move away from the live stream and go into some recorded segments, but they're going to be just as entertaining as you expect them to be. However, we will be looking for you guys' help more than ever to make sure that we're bringing you content and topics that you definitely want to hear.
So let's hear a little bit about why you chose this topic particularly.
All right. So it has been a whirlwind. We are just 3 shy days away from celebrating 1 year at this channel. This show has been going since June 27th of 2020, and you guys have no idea, but 2020 was a challenge. Just coming out of 2019, which was probably one of the roughest years that we had together as a couple, and we've seen some rough ones. I think 2019 was a very, very rough year for us.
Okay.
And then coming into 2020, we really were just trying to recuperate, as expeditiously as we possibly could. And so really kind of diving into Twice the Advice wholeheartedly was really our leap of faith. We were just, this is a great idea. I think we're in a position now that we can talk about our issues well enough to help other people. Let's just do it. And we set up our little recording space in our recording studio, which probably wasn't even the best place to put it, but that's neither here nor there. You guys have been with us as we have kind of transitioned, and we will continue to grow as long as you guys continue to grow with us. But I'm saying all of that to say, when we were finally getting that great momentum going, when we were finally getting that really good and consistent following, and we were really creating a schedule and a routine for you guys, life was like, boop, let's knock you off of that. And so his work schedule changed, my work schedule changed
3 times.
Yes. The expectations really kind of switched up on us, and we had no idea that was coming.
Yeah.
We had school ended for the kids, and that's always heavily impacting to what it is that you've got going on. We had plans for more than one of the kids to be out of the house. That changed. Then we had kids come into the house, so it was a whole big thing, right? And everything has been super inconsistent. It's been up and down, but he and I have still been on the same exact page, right? So I'm thinking,
most part, yes. Very much so.
We've been, since our vacay, right? Celebrating our anniversary of 10 years being together, which was a huge deal, you guys. That was a huge, huge deal for us to be able to celebrate 10 years together. And I'm glad that you guys were able to kind of share that with us a little bit. Stick around. We got plenty more coming. I wish that I had been able to really kind of make some things happen, but I'm learning that sometimes you have to say less and really just do more. So there's a lot of things that we've been discussing and talking about bringing to the forefront that you guys don't know anything about, and you won't know anything about until it's right here in your face. When you get that notice that there's a new segment coming, or there's a new episode that you may not have seen before, then that way you'll know exactly what's going on. But it is a lot to really put that effort out there to be consistent for you guys. But we're doing what we're doing as AD&D for Twice the Advice for you guys. This is for you guys. Yes, it helps us and it's beneficial to us, and we're grateful that you guys tune in and join us and encourage us, and all the likes, the subscriptions, the follows, all of that really does keep us motivated to keep going.
My finger hurt. That's why I just keep sitting here just scratching my finger.
It really does motivate us to keep going. And you guys, I hope that you continue to stick around, because we really do have some really great stuff coming. In the next couple of months, we are going to be very, very busy.
Right. Right. So we have Twice the Advice. Then we have Up Close and Personal.
That will be coming your way in no time
We will
flat.
most definitely be pushing the Black Brady's.
Absolutely.
Because our babies want in, and we feel like it's a great way to kind of communicate who we really are. Behind the scenes, we are constantly involved with our children. For those who don't know, and maybe very few, but we have 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. The oldest 17, soon to be 18, and the baby girl is 11 years old,
soon to be 12. So we've got our hands full. Our house is we have 5 teenagers of 6 children, and it feels like we have 5 teenagers.
And we are a blended family, and this thing is for real.
Yeah.
Like, we are having conversations about sex and high school and career paths and small businesses.
Absolutely.
We're having conversations about music, videography, quads and dirt bikes, coronations. We're having conversations about depression.
Yes.
And then still being able to juggle 9 to 5s, me 12 to 12. Literally everything that goes on inside of the house to keep a house together, to keep your mind focused, to keep your family together, to keep your mouth shut and your ears open, and your emotions controlled.
All under control. And that's one of the biggest challenges.
So this is kind of our way of sharing with you guys what it is on the other side of these seats.
Yeah.
And that's why the Black Brady's, we are so excited about this, because it shows you a little bit at a time exactly how we do what we do. We have an open forum with our children. We discuss any and everything, all gloves off, no holds barred, no hard feelings.
Even if that means that they have to jump on our behinds about jumping on their behinds for things that they feel like or felt like may not have been appropriate.
Correct.
We are all about making sure that punishment matches crime. And sometimes, we're human, we're people, we're still learning. This is our first time being parents.
Yeah. So we make mistakes.
Yeah, we do.
And we allow our children to correct us.
Yeah, and identify those and point out ways that they felt like we could have been able to do it better.
Things differently. Yeah.
So we're all for that, and I know that you guys are probably sick and tired of us talking about all of the new things that will be coming, but that's okay. You don't have to worry about hearing it much more. On a side note, we have, as he mentioned a moment ago, we've got coronations, we've got rites of passage. We are all about making sure that our children understand the transition from childhood to adulthood.
Yes.
And because of that, we make it a celebratory moment for them, so that way they understand the significance of that transition from childhood to adulthood. I wish that it was done more often in the Black community. I wish that we really focused on that transition and identified that time for a child where their childhood ends and their adulthood begins. And it wasn't just this, I'm gonna boot you out the door when you're 18 and you figure it out. But we're really trying to set the standard and really be the empire that we're building. So because of that, we have rites of passage parties that we throw for our sons, for them to understand that is their introduction to manhood
and set the standard for what it is, not only the life that they want to lead, but the expectancy, because they set the standard and we hold them accountable to that standard. When it comes to our young ladies, we crown the princesses so that they understand that they are of royalty. They come from a royal lineage, and they have an expectancy of a royal high priestess. Is that what it is?
They are royal heirs to the throne, and we want them to understand that as they transition, though they life has put these expectations or these expectancies that they are to be something. I, along with my husband, thank God for his support, we both really feel that it is necessary for you to teach your children, to teach the next generation that they can be whoever it is that they want to be.
Right.
Though they are still every bit of our future, though they are every bit of what we wish that we could be, right? Giving them the right kind of push, giving them the right kind of go ahead will really help them to start their life out on a great path. The next thing that we have coming up is this coronation for our daughter, and we're crowning our princess as the queen. She'll be 18, and it is going to take a lot out of me. So we'll start sharing some of that stuff with you guys as we begin this process. It is going to be nothing short of amazing, but it is definitely already stressful. We just got the invitations in the mail.
And I just got the ticket, what it's going to cost. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 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 So the venue itself is a beautiful, beautiful venue, but it is nothing short of amazing, just as amazing as she is as an individual. And when you have people that are amazing and they do amazing things, then I feel that you should treat them amazingly. And so for her, this is one of the things that I think we both agree that she deserves to get the best of the best treatment. So we're really kind of rolling out the gold carpet for her. It's not going to be red. It's going to be a gold carpet. We're really rolling out the gold carpet for her and giving her top of the line treatment as she makes her transition from being a young lady into a full queen. And it's going to be nothing short of amazing, but we have a lot on our plate. We have some transitions that are getting ready to happen.
Man, every day, every single day. And it's just like you have to almost go back into that mental Rolodex and say, wait a minute, did I do this or did I forget something?
Yep.
Or, step by step to make sure that things are in order. So back to the topic at hand.
Keeping it consistent with life's inconsistencies.
We have
and we're back again. Okay.
We've come quite a ways. Shout out to my pops.
Yes.
Shout out to my mother-in-law.
Yes.
Shout out to my mother.
Yes.
Shout out to the fathers and single mothers for everything that is going on right now, because life's inconsistencies, the teeter-tottering of life, will give you so many reasons to waver in thought and emotion. But if you manage to keep it together thus far, shout out to you, man. Big shout out and much love to you, because it is not always easy. And you guys have heard me say this numerous times over the course of us doing this show. Sometimes it does not look like what it feels like. But when you can make it feel as good as it looks,
then you own to
something. So you have to kind of get acclimated with things not always going your way. You have to kind of have yourself where there is no expectancy. Because when you set those expectancy, you set yourself up for disappointments.
To some degree.
And I'm saying that, but because this is the way that I had to deal with certain things. Disappointment was a very dark place for me.
Disappointment was a trigger for you.
Disappointment was a trigger for me, and it took me to some dark places in emotion.
There you go.
And in thought. Identifying it at the root was something that I constantly blamed my father for. Not understanding that there were so many different hurdles for that young man to deal with when he came into fatherhood with this young man. Then my mother and all of the women with the abandonment issues that I had to deal with.
That was also a trigger.
They were also triggers that took me to a dark place. And all of those things allowed me to do some very childish and foolish things, but I was still quite naive about how I should be conducting myself, not knowing truly what my issues were. So
not getting to the root cause.
When I was able to get to the root cause of a lot of things, it helped me to deal with things that I deal with now.
Very differently than what you would have dealt with them like before. Not that you would not have had to deal with them, just in a very different fashion.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that you said really stuck out to someone who is very near and dear for to us, King Russ for Jewels for Crowns. He said, you know, he overheard my husband having a conversation with his god brother, and he said to him, "You got to stop sitting on your gift." And it was, I mean, a couple of words in a sentence, but it was so magniferous, the message that was in that. And it really kind of ignited something in King Russ that really got him to thinking that, you know what, I got a gift and I am sitting on it, and it caused them to get up. I'm bringing this up because in line with the being consistent through life's inconsistencies, making that choice, right, has caused him to face so many different adversities, right?
Correct.
And I relate to that in reference to making the choice to I'm gonna say it as plain as I can, break the generational curse of raising my children on my own. I decided when I got with my husband, before he was my husband, this is it. And making that choice, I noticed from then what the attacks were like, and from every different angle that they came from, suspected and unsuspected, in ways that I knew might have come, in ways that I did not know would come, all in an effort to get me to go back to the inconsistent ways that were before me.
Proceed.
So with that being said, I relate to that, you know, trying to be consistent while battling those inconsistencies. It's really just the physical working through of generational curses that were before you, trying to be consistent in an inconsistent environment. All of it is just a tool. It's a trick. It's a distraction to keep you from the ultimate goal that is at the end of the road. And so for that, it's amazing to me how, even though my husband and I, we don't pray like we used to, we don't meditate like we used to, we don't even get a chance to spend the amount of time together like we once did, but we are still so in sync at this point, even with all of the other inconsistencies.
I feel that I'm going to touch on that just a bit, because oftentimes the prayer is here
in thought,
and it's consistent. The Bible says to pray without ceasing. But let me tell you something, raising 6 children, dealing with 6 different individuals of different backgrounds. Each and every one of these children are responsible for themselves. Each and every one of these children have different identities based on the 2 people that are responsible for making them. You and not just that, dealing with the not being the biological parent. From her, from me, it's something that we've had to work through consistently, all those different
still
times.
Work through.
Come on.
This summer has been an indication of that.
And even when you have these wayward individuals that come out of the wilderness and all of a sudden want to
be involved,
claim land that does not belong to them, and things that do not belong to them, but then don't want to be accountable for things that do belong to them.
But that's a whole nother topic,
right? So you still have to keep it together and be clever about what it is that you can see, especially, and identify it as a distraction.
Absolutely.
Man, they come in every form, they come in every shape, they continue to come. But the prayer, the meditation, the understanding, as it grows, it's almost as if going back and checking your safe spot. I'm big on like stashing money. I would take some money and I would stash it somewhere. And when I take that money and I stash it there, once I get a certain amount of money, I'll take that money and I'll move it to somewhere else, because then I start that initial pot all over again.
In another place.
Right. Or in the same place, just with a different amount. So after me knowing that I've put money in that place, I don't go back to that secondary place Probably at all until I'm ready to
pull from that.
Until I'm ready to contribute, put more to that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put $500 here,
mm-hmm.
until I have $500 in my first place, I don't touch that other $500. I may not visit that place at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I have $1,000, I take that and I move that somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these ways are
mm-hmm.
ways for me to keep myself from having it on hand.
Mm-hmm.
I even got to a place where when I told my wife, I would go and I would get money orders. And I would put a money order in my wallet, or I would take it and I would stick it in my sock drawer, and it's $1,000 in there.
Mm-hmm.
And turn around and I say, well, in the event that I need it, or any event that I have something that I want this to be contributed to, I'm able to go and I'm able to get that.
It's right here.
So these are the same ways that I kind of applied that to when it comes down to me and my wife. I don't have to touch bases with certain things because what's understood doesn't have to be explained.
That part.
Okay, we've made it to the point where it's 10 years now. This is what it is. This is what it's going to be. If it's not, then we can have that conversation and wholeheartedly have a straight up and straightforward conversation. I'm not going to revisit certain conversations because I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm not going to talk to her as if she's a child. I'm not going to deal with her as if she's a child. I don't have to touch that until I know that we're going on to a different place.
Plateau. Mm-hmm. We're going to the next level.
So we're going to a different place. Then we're able to share all of those places that we've been in on one time
on the next plateau,
on the next level, because you still start that next level on level one.
Absolutely.
You still shout out to Jerry Ford because he taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
So just like for every level, there's a new devil. Mm-hmm. You have to understand how to get acclimated with what you may deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, my mom, when my mom is dealing with some things, I don't know how to feel about it because sometimes I feel as though it may potentially pull me out of my element in order to be so considerate to what it is that she may be dealing with. But this is my mom. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, oh, Mom, I wish I could do more. Oh, man, I wish she wasn't dealing with this. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I wish. But to say, I'm going to take my mom, even my mom, into my household and bring on all the things that
come with that.
Mm-hmm. I have to be in a certain mindset and on a certain level
to be able
to do that, because the expectancy is something that goes out the window when it comes down to your mom, because then you're putting rules and standards and regulations on your mom that she may not or may understand, but it's gonna completely be inconsiderate to, because she ain't having that. That's mama,
because she the mama,
right? So you know, it's that same way with my children, but I'm all the more considerate to my children.
Yeah.
Because I feel like me taking care of them is what's going to ensure my retirement plan. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
For me, I just look at it as you know, it's different for me, but I look at it as a job well done. You know, I experienced losing my sister, who was a mother to 6 children. She was only 31 years old, and I was 23 years old when this happened. And it really changed my life, and I'm going to tell you why. Her oldest was 11 and would have been 12 that year. Okay, her mom died in January. She turned 12 in April, and her youngest was only 5 months old. And it just really rocked me in a fashion, because all I could think of was, what if that were me? What would my children do for the rest of their life? You know what I mean? Because that's it. Once mom is gone, that's the rest of your life. She never comes back. And so it really helped to cultivate me as a mother, because my children have been very, very independent from a very young age.
Oh, they have no choice.
Very independent. And it wasn't because I wanted freedom, because anybody that knows me can tell you hands down, this is where I've always been, right here with my children nowhere else. But I created that independent way of living for them because I wanted my children, if ever there should come a day that God calls me home, before they are prepared, so to speak, that they are at least prepared to be able to handle themselves and deal with themselves and take care of each other in my absence. And because of that, when I was granted my bonus children, I've spent my life doing the same thing for them, teaching them how to care for themselves and care for each other and how to treat each other and respect each other love each other, even with life and everything that comes along with it. And again, we have 6 children. They all have their own personality and their own ways. And we're learning. We just recently went through something in the house where we learned the personality of one that we kind of had an idea of, but we didn't know to what level or extent. And now we understand, you know, and we could be angry about it. But at this point, I feel that it's better that we focus on the lesson that's in it versus, you know, the negativity that could come from that. I don't ever want to create a plague in my household, but make it a learning experience so they understand that even your siblings sometimes will do things that are contradictory to what they've learned, what they've been taught, what they've seen, what they've experienced.
From the same people that were raised in the same household by the same parents.
Absolutely.
And many people can attest to that. My aunt Nicole, love you to life.
I was gonna shout you out, girl, because you was out there.
She was raised in a household, and she has a sister who was raised in a different household, and she was able to come to me and say some things and share some things with me,
and it was beautiful.
And it was we had a phenomenal time with her when she came and visited. And some things that were brought to her attention, she wasn't able to acknowledge them initially, but I can appreciate her because she called me and the significance of our relationship. She said, "Hey,
you know, I realized.
Let me tell you something." And I not only did she apologize,
but she elaborated on that.
She took the time to make it make sense. Absolutely. And then she has no idea how effective it is for me and appreciative I am of it because she killed it at the root. Absolutely. She went to the case and point all the way back to I was raised here. With this standard in this form and in this fashion.
But this person,
she was raised here with this standard and this fashion. And this is why oftentimes the two of us clash. Or I wasn't able to see that because that's not how I was raised.
Absolutely. So I know Aunt Nicole and I, way back when we first met, one of the first conversations that we had, she and I, we connected on a level that was out of this world. And I still value and appreciate that conversation. I really couldn't even tell you what it was that we talked about, but I just remember that it was such in-depth conversation and we were able to see each other on a different level, and that respect was made in the very first conversation. But one of the things that she and I really agree on is that we get to the root cause, right? And one of the things that I said to my husband when I met him, he was not in the place that he is now, but I could see beyond that, what was at the surface. I could see beyond his hair standing up on top of his head. I could see beyond the things that he was spewing out of his mouth. I could see beyond some of even the actions that he was putting out. I could see beyond that and see that there was something behind it that was causing all of those things that were coming out. And I was grateful, and I'm still grateful that I was able to see beyond that, because that has allowed me to love him and support him and be there for him to help him get to those places, find those places, identify those root causes, to remove them from him, to allow his true greatness to shine through. It is such a beautiful thing if you can get beyond that. So it is wonderful and amazing for you to really understand. And I want to kind of tie that back into the topic really about being consistent through all of those inconsistencies, right? One of the things that I've said to my husband, but I'll be honest, I really kind of keep that one to myself. I use my mouth, I use my words to cultivate our existence. And I've finally gotten to a place with my husband where he's comfortable enough to really kind of adapt that and use that same methodology of being mindful of that mouth. What are you saying out of your mouth that you're then attracting and bringing to yourself. So in the midst of everything that you can't control, because life is so full of things that you cannot control, but guess what? Everything in your existence you can.
No doubt. So we are speaking spirits, and we have to be able to identify with that, because nothing new comes under the sun. And in the Bible, there's a story about Job. And Job's wife, his own wife, said to him, why don't you just cuss your God and get it over with?
Yes.
But Job knew better. He said, man, shut your mouth.
Girl,
Man. You so foolish. You don't even know what you're talking about. Like, girl, you crazy. You don't bump your head. You know what I'm saying? This ain't because of my God. But he understood and could see something so much more further. And God himself identified something in Job. God himself was able to see something that was in Job that even Job did not know existed.
Sure enough, now.
You
all he was doing was what he felt was right.
so the consistency in life's inconsistencies was something that was a very wowing factor for Job, because he said to everyone around him, he said, this is what I'm dealing with. I don't know why. And he didn't focus on the why factor. He focused on what was happening, and what was happening was something that was tilling the ground as seeds were being sown. So
what you mean by that? Tilling the ground and seeds is being sown
for that harvest.
So
Job had to go through all of his loss, and all of the weariness, and the mourning, the tearing of his robe, the shaving of his head.
That's what you're saying.
The livestock, the animals, the children, his wife's words. He had to deal with all of that in order to get to the glorious place at the end of the road. At the end of all of the adversity. And with doing so, he managed to accomplish more than what it was that had been accomplished before by many others. I'm saying that because when I look at the situation that I've had to deal with when I was away from my children, I said to myself, and I said to many people around me, I said, man, listen, I got to take this time and I got to get away. I got to leave, because if I don't, these folks going to lock me up, and I'm not going to have a choice but to be away from my children. But if I make that choice consciously, if I do that on my own, I can live with that. I can feel better about it.
Not just that, but I can control when it ends.
Exactly. And it was 2 years?
No. A year and
a year and change.
Like a year and 4 months.
And my children were with me.
And that was that on that.
And that for me, and then thereafter they were with me for 3 years, and then they went back. And but long story short, you're gonna go through some things, and those processes not always gonna feel good. Your blessings are in your uncomfortable places.
Say that. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Your blessings are in your most uncomfortable places.
I want to say this really quick to those of you that are watching, listening, who will be watching this tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Use your mouth to shape your existence. Okay? Doctors are here for a job, right? But you, the you inside of you, you're here for eternity. You do not die. You leave this body behind, but you continue to exist. I'm saying that to say, one of the things that I share with women who are expecting or women who are looking to conceive is I share with them, speak to your body and talk to your womb and love it. Love it as if the child that you want is already there. And the significance of that is this: if you can do that, then you create a body that is capable of conception. You can do the same thing with any other illness. If your kidneys don't work, if your liver isn't functioning, if you're having issues with your lungs,
That's
if
right.
you're having pain in your feet, if you're having migraines, if you're having back pain, guess
These
what?
knees, Jesus, Lord, these knees.
No, not the knees.
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can really speak to yourself,
That's right.
right? Talk to you and tell you how you want you to operate.
And that goes hand in hand with what it was that I was saying about Job, because after reading that story and reading it time and time and having that reference to me so many different times, I said, why everybody always talking about Job? And do they really understand what it was that Job was dealing with? Do they really understand how that whole process worked? Because the devil himself not only tempted Christ, but he tempted Job. And Job was tempted by the people that were most significant to him. Job was tempted because Satan needed Job to
quit.
Not just quit. He needed to say it. He needed him to say it.
He needed that authority.
He needed him to set down the authority
that was already his.
Rightfully Job's.
All right.
Once Job spoke it, he gave life to it.
All right.
He gave the authority to it
by
giving it over to the devil himself.
All right. So
if you don't speak it,
all right.
If you don't,
or if you speak against it,
right.
If you don't speak it, or if you speak against it, what I've been really focusing on over the last couple of weeks is the emphasis of I am, and how much more powerful I am is over I will. I will in the usage of the term is future tense. So at some point I will get there. But I am there means I've already arrived. So you have to learn how to speak to yourself and call things to yourself and
till that soil.
Yeah, create that existence that you're really looking for. I know that you guys have been hearing it's manifesting season, right? And everybody is talking about how you can manifest things, but it's not really, for me, it's not really about manifesting. I use that term because that's the term that people right now understand. But I am a speaking spirit, so I speak into existence what it is that I want, what it is that I spoke my husband into my life, okay? I have spoken my family back together. I have spoken phenomenal opportunities for us. I have spoken repairs to things that were damaged. I have spoken all of these things because I speak against the negativity that may come into my mind, thinking that if I accept that negativity, then that's what it is. For me, I've gotten to a point where, as opposed to speaking to the negativity, about the negativity, from negativity, instead, if it is negative, I just disregard it. It ain't even there.
So to conclude that.
Yes, because it's time to wrap it up. You guys, we've been with you for a while now.
To conclude that, these are ways in which we have been able to stay consistent
in all
through life's inconsistencies.
Sure enough.
Man, it feels good to be back with you guys, and we thank you all for tuning in, tapping in, chiming in with us on this evening, and we are going to wrap this one up in a wonderful way. Just hoping that you guys picked up something from what it is that we're saying, hoping that you learned something or that you can identify something that you can apply to your day-to-day.
And if you have, take a couple of minutes for us real quick. Drop it in the comments. Tell me if there's something that you heard us talking about tonight that you would love to be able to take with you as you go and you grow, because we're all growing every day.
And before we go, not to cut you off, I want to make sure that you guys know that we are paying attention and that we're watching as well. Shout out to my girl, Holly.
Yes.
We understand what you're going through. We lost my father-in-law just a short time ago. It's been 2 years. It'll be going on 3 very soon.
3 already.
And I just want to encourage you and your partner.
As you embark on an endeavor that is intended to change your life forever.
Yeah.
But know that you have something that so many other people don't get a chance to get.
That's right.
And really embrace everything that comes along with it. It is beautiful when you get to spend time with people, especially if you may know, because it is a pleasure to know that that time is coming to an end. Sometimes we do not know the day that shall come that is the last.
Hour.
Come on now, that is the last of those that we have. But it is great for you to really focus in and on every relationship and every connection that you have. Treat each day as if it is the last day. And that way there are no regrets on the other side. Listen, you guys, we really, really appreciate you joining us for tonight. It has been an absolutely phenomenal show with you guys. We're back at it again. So listen, catch us next week, Thursday at 10 p.m. right here at Twice the Advice. Listen, you guys, if you haven't already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell to be made aware of all of the new things that we've got coming your way. And if that's all that you got on your chest for the night, that's all you got.
Oh, I'm good. I just want to make sure that we said love, peace, and Afro Greece. Until next time.
Yeah.
Same place.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah.
Twice the Advice.
Sure enough.
Good night.
Peace, y'all, gang.
I need to eat.